Oh God, the door is locked. Sarah, hold Lily. Don't look at the corner. In the absolute darkness of a hidden underground bunker, Mark's phone screen lit up. It was a live notification from a dark web website he had never seen before. It read, "Your stream is now live. 42,000 viewers are watching." And that's when they heard the footsteps moving in the dark. It was supposed to be a flawless summer getaway. Mark, Sarah, and their 7-year-old daughter, Lily, had spent months planning their trip to Mission Beach. They wanted a week of sun, sand, and complete disconnection from their chaotic everyday lives. As they drove down the beautiful California coastline, the stress of the city seemed to melt away. By the time they pulled into the driveway of the sleek, modern Airbnb, the sun was just dipping below the horizon. The golden California sky instantly bruised into a deep, chilly purple. It was beautiful, yet oddly quiet. The house sat completely isolated at the end of a dead-end street, facing the vast, dark ocean. Mark punched the code into the glowing smart lock. The door clicked open with a heavy metallic thud. Inside, the air was cold, swept clean, perfectly still. They dropped their luggage in the entryway, laughing off the sudden chill, completely unaware that the house had been waiting for them, and it already knew exactly who they were. Mark flipped the master switch, and the house flooded with sharp, white light. The initial creepiness vanished, replaced by the undeniable luxury of the property. The living room boasted floor-to-ceiling windows looking out over the Pacific, and the kitchen was stocked with a pristine welcome basket. For a moment, the Millers let their guard down. Mark began unpacking his clothes in the guest room, while Lily sat on the living room rug, quietly lost in her toys. Outside, the pitch-black ocean waves crashed against the shore in a steady, hypnotic rhythm. Mark decided to do a quick sweep of the house to locate the thermostat. He stepped out of the bright living room and wandered into a long, narrow hallway at the back of the house. The hallway was lined with closed doors and decorated with a gallery of framed photographs, mostly standard, artistic shots of stormy oceans and empty beaches. But as Mark walked past them, something caught his eye. A sudden splash of color amidst a wall of black and white prints. He froze, his breathing hitched. He turned slowly, stepping closer to a heavy wooden frame. His heart hammered against his ribs as his brain desperately tried to make sense of what he was looking at. Hung neatly on the wall of a rental home they had checked into just 20 minutes ago was a picture of his own family. Mark leaned in so close, his breath fogged the glass. In the frame was a candid shot of a family on a beach. It was his family. There was Sarah, wearing the exact green sun hat she bought last week. There was Lily, laughing as she buried her toy shovel in the sand. It looked like a beautiful, spontaneous memory, except for one terrifying detail. "Sarah," Mark whispered, his voice cracking. "Sarah, come here right now." Hearing the panic in his voice, Sarah hurried down the hall. When she reached him, Mark didn't speak, he just pointed. Sarah stared at the frame, her hand instinctively flying to her mouth. Pulling out his phone with trembling fingers, Mark opened his camera roll. He scrolled back to that afternoon. There it was, the exact same photo. He tapped the image info. The timestamp read, "Today, 2:14 p.m., Mission Beach." This wasn't an old photo. It was taken 4 hours ago. Someone had followed them to the beach, photographed them from the shadows, printed it, framed it, and hung it on this wall before they checked in. But then Sarah noticed something else. Hidden in the background seagrass of the beach photo was a dark silhouette. Crouching in the weeds was a figure holding a massive camera lens, pointed directly at them. "We're leaving, right now," Mark whispered. He grabbed Sarah's arm and they sprinted back into the living room. Sarah scooped Lily up into her arms, the little girl crying out in confusion. Mark threw their bags over his shoulder and lunged for the front door. He grabbed the heavy metal handle and threw his weight against it. It didn't budge. The electronic smart lock on the door whirred to life. The glowing green numbers shifted, flashing a violent, hostile red. A mechanical click echoed through the frame. The host had locked them in from the outside. Mark frantically pulled out his phone to call for help, but the Wi-Fi bar dropped to 0. Cell reception read, "No service." Then, with a sudden, deafening snap, the entire house plunged into absolute pitch blackness. The overhead lights went dead, leaving the family standing in the cold, blue glow of the moonlight pouring through the windows. In the dark, Mark's phone screen lit up. It was a text message from an unknown number. Mark looked down, his blood turning to ice as he read the words on the screen. "Unauthorized checkout detected. Please stay inside." Panic turned into a race for survival. Suddenly, A low mechanical groan echoed through the walls. Heavy motorized steel hurricane shutters began rolling down over the massive living room windows, sealing the glass and blocking out the moonlight. They were being enclosed in a windowless steel box. Desperate, Mark dragged his family back toward the hallway closet, where he remembered seeing a maintenance hatch. He ripped it open and entered through the pitch-black crawl space before receiving Sarah and Lily down. They crawled through the dirt until the floor gave way, dropping them onto the cold concrete of a hidden underground basement. But this wasn't an ordinary cellar. The room was filled with glowing computer monitors, and as Mark shined his phone light on the concrete walls, the true horror of the house was revealed. The walls were covered in hundreds of pinned surveillance photos of previous guests, photos of them sleeping, photos of them eating, and photos of them bleeding. Mark stumbled toward the main desk. On the screen was a live streaming dashboard. A countdown timer was ticking down under a bold title: Live Event, The Millers, Premium Access. To the right, a chat box was scrolling at lightning speed with thousands of anonymous users typing in cryptocurrency commands. The text message hadn't been from a single stalker. The Airbnb was a front for a dark web interactive horror show. And the message, "The Millers been waiting all week," meant the viewers had just paid to unlock the final act. Before they could run, the heavy iron door of the bunker slammed shut, locking them in the dark. Mark's phone screen buzzed one final time with a new notification from the streaming site. It read, "Your stream is now live. 42,000 viewers are watching." And from the dark corner of the room, the footsteps began to move.